If you also have enough of Lightroom's obnoxious pricing and you would like to have a new photo editor that can do the same but for much cheaper, then this video is for you. Because I've been testing out another raw photo editor called Luminar Neo, produced by a company called Skylum. And to be honest, I really like it. It can do things that Lightroom will never be able to do. So in this video, I will show you how to start using Luminar Neo, and I'm going to edit a landscape and a portrait photo from scratch. Now let's start importing photos into Luminar Neo. Well, and the good news is that in Luminar Neo there is no importing like in Lightroom Classic. What you can do is that you can either just select your files and just drag and drop them, or you can go to the folders panel here, click on this plus icon, select the folder where your photos are and click add folder. And if you use this method, even if you put new photos into this folder, those photos will automatically appear here in Luminar Neo, so you don't have to quote import them as you needed to do in Adobe Lightroom. So in Luminar Neo you also have a catalog view. You can see the folders here and all the photos, and you can set how big the thumbnail should be. Let's go with large, and you can also filter the photos through different criteria. Let's go back here to medium, and you have a preset panel. I'm not going to be using this, so you can have lots of different presets. You can also buy premium presets, and there is also an edit panel. This is similar to Lightroom's develop panel. Now let's go back to the catalog because I would like to start with this photo. I'm gonna go edit. This is a photo I took with a Viltrox 50mm f2 lens on a Nikon Z7 Mark II, and as you can see it's quite underexposed. First, here's the develop panel. It says raw, so this means that the Luminar Neo recognizes that this is a raw file and you can have raw edits. So let's push up the exposure a little bit, highlights back because I don't want the sky to be blown out, and also shadows up. I'm going to leave the white balance here. This was an Astro modified camera, so that's why we have this weird white balance value here, but you can always change it, and you can push up the vibrance here a little bit. Great. And here you have the sharpness panel. Let's click here and zoom in 100%. Let's sharpen it. And here you can set the radius of the sharpening and how much masking it should apply. Let's leave it on these values. By the way, you can see that this Viltrox lens, even at f2, it's really sharp. Maybe I will push the vibrance even more. And here is this eye icon. I can toggle it on and off, and I can see the effects of this editing panel. Now what I noticed is that this photo is a little bit tilted, so I'm going to crop, I'm going to level it just a tad bit. Alright, that's good. I'm going to say apply. So now I'm done with the basic raw editing, and here are some like magical AI tools. Under the favorites, enhance and sky, let's go into this enhance panel. So it's an AI powered tool, and if I push the accent slider up, you can see that it kind of automatically, intelligently enhances the image in a way that it's not being overexposed, and the sky is being a little bit dragged down and the foreground pushed up. And it also have a sky enhancer slider that only affects the sky. So I think this is a really good move. So it's almost like an auto slider. So if I push this up, you can see it selectively edits different parts of the image. Now let's say if I would like to make this image, I make this image a little bit darker. You can see that those develop values that we have applied, they just disappeared. Now this is one thing that really annoyed me first with Luminar Neo, but it has a different logic in terms of editing steps. So if you go here to the edits panel, it's almost like a history panel. You can see here the raw edits, develop raw, and here you have all the raw editing that we did in the first place, in the beginning of the editing. And now you can adjust these, and you go back up here, then these panels are applied up on top of these editing steps. So it has a different logic. And if I would like to delete any of the editing steps, I can click on this undo and then delete that editing step. But I quite liked it, so I'm gonna say undo, and I have this enhance here again. And I go back to tools again. I have all the tools as previously, but if I apply anything here, it's gonna be a new editing step in the editing panel. And if I click on this eye icon, I can compare it to the original raw photo. As you can see, we have done quite much. Let me show you another landscape photo. Here is this field. As you can see, it was taken roughly around sunset, but it looks a bit flat, a bit not too contrasty. So again, I'm going to go develop raw, and it's well exposed, so I don't need to adjust the exposure. I can up the smart contrast a little bit, and white balance is alright. I'm gonna push up the vibrance a little bit more, and maybe the whites slider, blacks, let's push up the vibrance slider a little bit more, and also do the sharpening. Let's magnify into the image. All right. So here we have our basic raw editing. Again, let's go to this Enhance AI panel and push up the accent. Let's see what it does. And we can also put the sky enhancer. As you can see, it automatically brightened up the foreground, which is in the shade, quite much, and you see a lot more details in the sky now. Let's turn this back down a little bit. So far, so good. And we have this structure panel as well. This is a bit similar to the clarity and texture panel in Lightroom, as far as I can see. If we push the amount up, you can see it has the same like clarity looking effect as we are used to in Lightroom. Let me show you again. But I prefer the result of this slider. I don't like the clarity slider in Lightroom. I much more prefer this one in Luminar Neo. Now let's not boost things up that much. So here is without and with. In fact, I don't even think we need that much. So here's the photo before and after. As you can see, if you scroll down here, it's got so many tools. Honestly, I think they have probably way too many options here, and it's easy to get lost, and it's not obvious what each function does. But this landscape, we have a dehaze slider here. I'm gonna again zoom in a little bit so we can see it better. Okay, dehaze. Okay, so it upped the vibrance a little bit, added some oranginess, golden hour look. What does it do? I quite like that. So here is without this lens. Oh, sorry. Command Z, and I click on the eye here. So it's without this landscape editing panel. For me, that is ready, but let me show you one more feature of Luminar, which is this sky thing, sky. So in Luminar, you can easily just like get rid of the sky, so to say, and have a new sky completely automatically. So let's say that I'm not satisfied with the sky here, and I can select a new sky, a sky selection, and I can browse through a lot of different skies. Let's have this one. Wow, looks all right. And you have so many different options, like sky orientation. I can push the sky further up or down, horizontally as well, like this. Scene relighting, I can relight the scene based on the sky. Let's relight it. Relight human, what it is, even I don't know. There are just so many sliders. Reflection amount, how much this sky reflects. Water blur, okay, there is no water. Sky adjustments, we can defocus the sky. Warmth, I think it's too warm in this case. Brightness, it should be a bit brighter. And as you can see, it was an automatic sky replacement, and you can see that even with the edges of the tree, it's a very natural sky replacement. You couldn't really tell just by looking at the selection that this was not the original sky. Now let's pick another cloud. I don't like this one that much. I think this fits more the scene. So this was the unedited photo, and this is what we edited with Luminar Neo. Now let's edit portraits in Luminar Neo. Let's select this one. I'm going to go edit. And as you can see, this is a very heavily underexposed one. I used a softbox, and in the softbox there was a flash. And you can see even the reflection of the softbox here. So I'm going to go develop raw, and I will have to push the exposure up. Highlights a little bit down. Shadows, maybe not much. I think that's roughly okay, and also sharpen it. Let's not sharpen too much. We have this structure AI tool here, amount, so we can either push it up, and then it's like pushing up the clarity slider in Lightroom. It's not good. It creates it brings out all the small details, not so good. But I can also pull it down, and it's gonna soften up the details. So the image is still going to maintain its sharpness, but it's going to soften up a little bit. Good. And here we have some really good tools, which I really like, and that these tools are not in Lightroom. I'm just gonna go fit screen. Yeah, I know what I'm gonna do first. I will crop because I was on a hurry and I didn't do a good cropping. Let's go like this. Okay, so I can check what I've done so far. So we have this thing called glow in different types: soft focus, glow, or orthon effect. So orthon effect is a very interesting one. It's like putting one more layer on top of the photo, but the top layer is blurred, and it creates a softness in the image. Let me show you what it does. I'm going to push it up a little bit so you can see. It kind of softens up, but it has this glowing kind of effect. And if I pull this brightness down, it will not brighten it up that much. So that's without, and that's with this orthon effect. So it made the image a bit more contrasty, but also softer. And I can also play with the warmth here. I can make the image warmer. I mean, this glow can be warmer, or the glow can be cooler. Now let's leave it around 0. By the way, if you double click on any of the sliders, it's going to go back to its default position. Okay, so far so good. And we have these professional tools, super contrast, highlights, midtones, and shadows. So you can control the contrast within the highlights, midtones, and shadows separately. If you push up the slider, as you can see, there will be more details appearing in the highlights. Also, you have a separate for the midtones. That's too much. I will not touch that. And if I push the shadows contrast up, I will have more details in the shadows. Okay, not this much. And we have portrait tools here, face, skin, and body AI. Face AI, this is crazy. So there's a face light option. I can selectively put light on the face. I can even make the face slimmer. Now she doesn't need anything like this. And to be honest, maybe it's a bit unnatural result, but as you can see, you can make the face slimmer. I wouldn't use this for sure, no. And eyes, let's zoom into the eyes. You can even have the enlarge eyes option. That's crazy. I know some people will do it, but please don't do it. And there's this really interesting one, eye enhancer. I like this one. So it actually brightens the eye a little bit. Can you see? Look in the iris. It got a little bit brighter. You also have the option to remove dark circles. Now she doesn't have any, but circles around the eyes, you can remove it. And there's also options for the mouth. Now skin, this is a really good one that you can use a lot. You can make the skin selectively softer. And there's a shine removal tool. It removes some of the shine. Let me show you. So it made the skin selectively smoother. So this is without, and this is with. But it still keeps the details, but it removes lots of the small imperfections. And you can also click this skin defects removal, and it will maybe remove some of the skin defects. However, I see some weird artifacts here. It's not always working perfectly, and I wouldn't push the amount so much like this. So this was the original one, the unedited, and this is the edited one. Now, if I want to add some toning, so I can, like the split toning in Lightroom, I can selectively polarize the highlights. I'm just going to push the saturation up so I can see which color I'm introducing. So this orangey yellow and shadows. I'm just going to introduce some blue for this cool look. So this was the image that we started with, and this is our final edited photo. I think that's pretty good, and we didn't have to push around too many sliders. Let's see from a closer distance. So this was the original one, and this is the edited. So this is again the original, and this is the edited one. Here's another feature that Adobe Lightroom cannot do, and I don't think it will be ever able to do. In Luminar Neo, you can add more layers onto the photo. Just click here, layers, click on the plus, and you can have different light leaks, sparks, bokeh shots, or you can load your own image or own layers and put it onto the photo. Now I'm going to add this one here, and as you can see, you can move it around. I think now it's a bug on my computer, so you can move this layer around the frame. You can position, scale it. Let's go like this. And here on the layer properties panel, you can set the opacity of this new layer and the blending mode. So this is normal, darken, multiply, color burn. These are the same blending modes as in Photoshop: lighten, screen, overlay, blah, 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 blah. Lighten now, and I will pull back the opacity. We don't need that much. And I am going to blur. Wait, let's go back, fit screen. So now make sure that you are standing on this layer. It's got this yellow outline, and I can make this blurred a little bit more. Where is it? Creative and blur and Gaussian blur amount. As you can see, only this layer is getting blurred. Good, so far so good. I like the effect. Obviously you don't have to do this, but for this photo it kind of works. but you have the option to have as many different layers, and you can also mask them, and you can select different blending modes. So this is a really creative mode to elevate your photos, and you don't need Photoshop for this. You can do this in Luminar Neo. Of course, we don't have to do the same editing on each and every photo. We can just copy and paste the settings or synchronize them. So this is the photo that I already edited. So it's actively selected. Command C on or Control C on Windows. And I go over to the next photo, which was taken with the similar settings, same place, and Command V or Control V. And it's going to synchronize the settings. However, it doesn't synchronize the crop. So the cropping is not synchronized, and as you can see, because there's that layer on top of it, we need to crop the image again. So I'm going to go crop. I will crop it this way. Good, and I'm going to adjust this layer that I put. And as you can see on this photo, this layer doesn't really come out well because the background is not that dark. So I'm going to delete it for now. This was the unedited photo, and this is the edited photo. And again, all the same edits are here. So the toning is here, the skin AI, the face AI, super contrast, glow, structure, they are all here. I didn't have to go through all of them because I synchronized the settings from an already edited image. If you would like to give Luminar Neo a try, click on the link under the video. It's going to give you a 7-day free trial period. Let me know if you are already using it, what are your thoughts, what features do you like, let me know down in the comments. And since we are talking about photography, make sure to watch this video where I tell you why I'm mostly using aperture priority mode coupled with auto ISO when I'm shooting handheld. See you soon, and all the best from Hungary.